Talk about how bots or chatbots can what fulfill their destiny. Your stage. Give a hand, give them a hand. Yeah.
No. But you have a clicker.
Yeah? Okay, sound, clicker, DAC, I think we're ready to go for this one. Hi everyone, thanks Yuda. So, in the early United States, there was a term that was called a manifest destiny. It was the belief that the United States was destined to expand from coast to coast across the country. There was a vision that that young country was destined to expand across the vast and uncharted land. And our industry, the chatbot industry, is in a similar position, where if we are to fulfill our manifest destiny, we need to reach out and explore new opportunities to fulfill the biggest opportunity I think there is in a long time. So I'm honored to be here. This is my third time giving a keynote at Chatbot Summit, which is a hat trick. For those of you who don't follow football or hockey, a hat trick is when you score 3 goals in a game. So this is my hat trick. What I really wanted to tell you is something that the most prolific hat trick hockey players in the history of hockey used to say. When people asked him, what makes you so good? When Gretzky would say that on the ice, he would stay 2 steps ahead of the competition. And the way he would do it, as he said, is I skate to where the puck is going to be and not where the puck is. And that is what I want us to do today. Look at where the chatbot industry is and where it is headed, so we can all skate there and stay ahead of the competition. A little over 2 years ago, I stood here on this stage and talked to you about what we need to do to survive the hype cycle. And that strategy mostly boiled down to focusing on concrete business value propositions and avoiding flair, bells and whistles. And 2 years later, looking back, I'm pretty proud, and I think we've come a long way. As always, there's some good news and bad news. The good news is that businesses are totally buying in. And the numbers show that over 90 or almost 90% of businesses are either already investing or planning to invest in AI for consumer experience. The question still remains, do consumers see the same value that businesses do? And that's where the bad news come. So from the business's perspective, they're all in, but consumers still respond with a resounding, eh. And for some consumer, the reason is that the consumer platforms are not living up to their expectations. And what used to be a massive flood of messenger bots is now mostly down to a trickle. And the proliferation of feature bots, these are specialized bots that target on specific use case, are simply not catching on yet. For other consumers, it boils down to the fact that many bots are still unable to understand complex intents or process complex capabilities with personalization. In short, unsurprisingly, once we strike a conversation with our consumers, they hold us to a very high standard, setting a high bar that unfortunately many bots today simply do not live up to. Our industry was shaped by consumer platforms, Facebook Messenger, Alexa, and so on. And the huge marketing hype surrounding consumer experience shaped the market expectations and perception. But the fact is that working with many businesses, hundreds of businesses around the world, my experience shows that consumer platform adoption is relatively low, and many businesses would opt to deploy their bots on their app or their website rather than on a platform like Messenger. And the ones that do opt to deploy their bot on Messenger see little to no use compared to their counterparts on the app or website. Some even to the point where they pulled their Messenger bots and only kept their bot on the app or website, where it showed a lot more engagement. Couple that with the fact that consumer capabilities are strongly tied to the underlying technology of natural language processing and AI research, we see that most bot makers are simply not in control of their own destiny. Therefore, it seems we've hit a sort of wall in our journey. And I think that we should take a step back and pause for a moment and think, do we really want to continue to allow consumer experience to be the sole driver and shaper of our industry? Not so sure. An industry is shaped by technological capabilities, but also by business potential. And bots, in their nature, are tied to scale, because at the end of the day, bots are a form of automation. And scale is based on volume. And there are two ways to generate volume. Option number one, get a vast amount of users and engage with each user once or a few times. Option number two, get a smaller amount of users, but engage repeatedly over and over again with these users, generating many engagements with each one. Consumer-targeted deployments almost exclusively go for option number one, many users, a few times each. But I claim that the potential in option number two is massively better, where we engage with a smaller amount of users many times over again. The question is, where can you find that type of volume? The answer is businesses, and in business deployments, in what we call B4B, bots for businesses. These are bots that are targeting business employees and professional users. And the opportunities that lies in bots for businesses are tremendously more interesting and opens up strategies and opportunities. Let's look at a couple of them. First, we can find a repetitive theme or task that we can automate with a bot. For example, look at the IT field. IT professionals answer repetitive questions, doing menial tasks over and over again. How do I set up a printer? How do I change my password? Why can't I log into my email? And so on and so forth. If we can free up those IT professionals to do meaningful work and do interesting things, that could be tremendous. Strategy number two is targeting the support of high turnaround roles. For example, support agents. By providing them service with a bot, we can reduce the ramp-up time, improve quality, security, and compliance by allowing these users to consult with a bot quickly and effectively without being judged for asking stupid questions or asking the same question over and over again. The third strategy is targeting areas where knowledge and information needs to be disseminated across an organization or groups of employees. For example, HR. Imagine an HR bot providing employees information about their benefits, day-to-day work, company policies, and processes. So these are just a few strategies, and the opportunities that lie in bots for businesses are tremendous. But looking from the 10,000 feet view, consumer-centric deployments target conversion to full-blown experience. We generate many cases of first impressions. These need user education and leaves a lot of unknowns. Compare that to the business deployment opportunity, where the situations of first impressions are far and in between. And user education is a lot simpler. The transition from consumers to businesses and professional is a transition from conversion and experience to enablement and empowerment. This focus on empowerment opens up opportunities to drive key opportunities. The first of which is targeting concrete use cases with concrete KPIs that have proven business value. And once we do that, we play to the core strengths of bots, shifting the focus from experience to value, we can focus on speed, simplicity, automations, integrations. This is where bots shine. And the fact is that business users are a lot less experience sensitive, because in a business context, being fast and useful always beats being nice and talkative. So once we have established key use cases and KPIs, we can start building on these. Because if you find something interesting in a business context, you can most probably replicate it for users by the same department, the same organization, the same role, the same task that they're accomplishing. Compared to consumer deployments, where almost each deployment needs to build a new bot from the scratch, build it from the ground up, when you do it with a business use case, you can specialize and replicate. Another opportunity is leveraging the fact that many businesses use the same services and tools. And once you integrate your bot to these services and tools, like in the back office, you can put a huge multiplier on the value that your bots provide to that business. So one more thing to watch out for. When we're deploying bots for consumers, testing is finicky at best and disastrous at worst. But when we target businesses, we can test bots internally. And when you find your use case and you build that bot, test it with your colleagues and see if it holds up to the promise. If they're buying into it, you're probably ready to go to market. If not, you need to take a moment to reanalyze. Wrapping it all up, we've discussed how our industry is in one place today, but can definitely expand to new reaches moving forward. We're definitely not tied to the opportunities that we're realizing today. And if we are to fulfill our manifest destiny, we need to move forward and charter our path and figure out what is the next opportunity moving forward. And businesses could be the next one. There are further options to explore in the future. There are still mountains to climb. It's not over yet. And next time, I'll share with you what's the biggest weakness of bot technology and how we can overcome it. But until then, I want to invite you to join me and fulfill our manifest destiny. Thank you very much.
Okay. Amit, great talk as usual. Thank you very much.